Welcome to Season 3 of The Biz Show, sponsored by InvestQuire. Discover what's next with this insightful podcast. And now, your hosts, Barry and Lisa.
Good morning, Barry. How are you today?
I am doing well, Lisa. How about you?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how well are you?
Oh, wow, you had to throw that out there now, didn't you? Well, I'm gonna go with a 9.5 or a 10 today.
Really? Oh my gosh,
I
that's
f- I f-
exciting.
I feel great, you
I
know?
was asking this business colleague of mine, I said, are you just saying that you're good or are you really good? I said, because a lot of people just say they're good because they want to avoid the conversation. Or, you don't want to like offload on somebody.
Yeah. Well, we've had those conversations before. We're dragging in the dirt, but you know what?
They're
It's
dragging into third. That's funny.
let's share our coffee together, right?
Yeah, cheers. I'm having a coffee and a bagel right now.
Oh, there you go. I really want an orange, but man,
Oh,
they're not that good right now, right? So they're kind of out of
they're
season.
not. Oh,
Yeah.
they're out of season. What's in season right now?
I don't know. I,
Persimmons?
I have Tammy tells me what's in and what's out.
My persimmon tree is blooming, so I know the
Oh,
persimmons are in season. I'm gonna make persimmon jam again.
oh, there you go. There you go. Well,
Yeah.
let's get down to business today, huh?
Where are we, Barry? What are we on? We're on
Everybody
season
want to
three
yeah, season
or
3,
two.
episode 24 of the Biz Show. We want to welcome everybody on board. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Lisa and I definitely, have a candid conversation about a particular topic. Today's topic, we're going to talk about negotiations and specifically succeeding in business negotiations.
Yeah, that is so important. Oh my goodness. We can
We've
only
had a
sharpen our skills, right?
Right. We've had a couple podcasts in the past about the art of the negotiation and stuff like this. This we're going to kind of drill down a little bit. There's some steps, and so we want to talk about those steps, right? And
Yes.
and give you maybe some pointers and tips on what to do in each particular step along the way.
Yeah, I love doing these podcasts, Barry, because not only am I helping provide value to people, but it actually helps me, right? When you teach, you learn. So I'm
That's
excited about
it.
this one because
That's
I have to, be a good coach mentor to our agents on our team. And this is so important to be able to dive into this topic today.
it is, and I've taught this stuff. you know, we've had this conversation. I had my post-secondary teaching credentials. I taught all this back in the 90s
Right.
and the 2000s, but it's changed
Yes.
from then.
To
I
now.
mean, it's the same, but it's different
But
because the
it's good to
people
go
have
back to the
changed.
basics,
It
right?
is. It is.
Yeah.
So,
So let's talk about that, like
yeah.
what hasn't changed and what has changed. And I think you
Well,
broke it down into 7 steps, right?
there are 7 steps, and before we jump into them, let me say this: I've
Mhm.
studied this at Harvard, and I studied this at MIT.
Okay.
And
Well,
Stanford's
they
got version and Yale,
different.
and
Yeah.
there are differences and there are some similarities. So what I've done here is I've broken this down to the best of each.
Each of them. You always got to
Yes.
take out the key points, right? That work for you.
Yeah, and that's
Hmm.
just it, right? What works for me might not work for you or might not work for somebody else. So take what
Right.
works, and then
Exactly.
what doesn't work, refine it, fine tune it,
Yeah.
pivot.
Make it your own, right? Personalize
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. So, yes, there are 7 steps on a standard negotiation. I say standard, right? Because there could be 14 in a very difficult one that you got to get.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to revisit one of the steps. You may think that you can, you've done and utilized all of them, but you may need to revisit one and go back to that when you're negotiating.
Well, you might get stuck in one, two, or three, or four times based
Yeah.
off of who you're negotiating with and where that goes. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Good point,
Yeah.
Lisa. Good point.
Hmm. So what's number
So
one?
the most important is
Yeah.
preparation, right? Before you even get into the negotiation, learn everything you can about the topic, the person, the company, whatever the case might be. Also, make sure that you have your goals, write them down. What are your goals? If you're going to walk away, why are you going to walk away? What is a deal breaker for you? right? These are things you need to really have written down on paper. And I tell you, write them on paper because then you're more likely to abide by them.
Yeah, you'll definitely have clarity and you'll be very clear on it. And then you may actually change what your end goal is when you are doing that self-discovery and preparation and writing down what the end result looks like. It may actually be different than what you were actually going to, aim for originally. So it is good to explore that. Like Barry said, prepare and write it down and maybe have a couple of options so that you have maybe three main targets that you're aiming for.
Perfect. Perfect. Yes.
We
That's
always
it.
like to pivot, right? We say pivot a lot. So
I think
and
every episode in all this season, we've said the word pivot.
And then it shows the recipient that you're actually being flexible, so to speak.
It is. And we'll talk
Yeah.
about that a little further because that could also be a deterrent or a detriment to you if depending on how you pivot and what you do. But we'll get to that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
what is the second one, Lisa? After you've prepared, we've got what?
Oh, this is a very, very important one. And I've learned this over the years because sometimes you're dealing with somebody that, you're not really crazy about, or it's going to be a very challenging conversation. And I just had a meeting like that recently, and I had to go into it and just be very calm, cool, and collected. So setting the tone, Barry, is so huge in negotiations,
Yeah, the
right?
open, set that tone.
Hmm.
And you want to make it friendly and
Yeah.
inviting, right? Set it calm, relaxing. And in that way, it's a lot easier to get things done if
Right.
if both you guys are, at a neutral area.
People run into meetings with guns, blazing, and they're like, they're armored up, and they're like, "I'm ready to, win this, this negotiation." And you want to be the one that's calm, cool, and collected because it really breeds confidence, you know?
It does. Yeah,
Hmm.
okay, you're going to get ready for battle and put your armor on, and go fight,
Yeah.
slay that dragon, right? But, you know, be calm about it, right? And you don't need to show that. Here's a tip, and I can't stress this enough. When you are opening this up, right? This is not about dollars, right? So don't open up and don't lead with that. Basically, what I've always done is I've asked straight up, so what's going to make this a win-win for us both today?
Yeah. Ask them what they
Start out.
want.
That's how I typically start. What's going to
Because
make this a win-win?
when you know what they want and they're actually speaking to you and you're listening, then you could point to that in every step of you trying to get your result. You could speak to that. That's the pain point, right? So ask the question.
Yes, and you know me, I'm analytic and I listen and I analyze and I can judge as to if their pitch in their voice gets higher or if they get more animated. I can tell topics. Okay, this is near
That
and dear
they're,
to their heart, right?
yeah,
So,
that's what they're passionate about.
right.
Yeah. Sometimes I forget to ask the question and we make assumptions that we know what they want, but we could be totally off. So it's so important.
I've learned that over the years being in service and stuff like that, that ask and shut up and listen.
There's so many good movies out there, but sometimes you'll watch the negotiations and you'll see that the two parties actually wanted the same thing in the end.
Yeah.
And it was all about their ego of like, being the one to say, hey, I'm the one that, won. But
There's
interesting.
you mentioned, it's funny that you say that, right? There's I think Glengarry Ross has something to
Yeah.
do with that. And then there's a movie with George Clooney in it where he's a traveling negotiator or a hatchet man or something like that. But it's really good
Good.
about this too, right?
Yeah, there's so many good ones.
Right. So after the open, then what's going to happen next?
Now
Step
you're
number
in
three.
exploration phase, right? You're letting them
Yeah,
talk, you're summarizing back to them, feeding them back what they just said so they know that you heard them.
right. And this is
Hmm.
before numbers. Numbers shouldn't come to the end, right?
Right.
So don't lead with, oh, this is going to cost you, $5,000 or 50,000, whatever it is, right? Numbers should not be part of this yet, right? And what you want to do is ask the questions, shut up and listen. Let them talk, right?
Yeah.
And then when they tell you, read, I write notes down and then I read them back to them. And I know you do too. I see you write notes all the time, right? And
Yeah, it's so
and that
important
way
for
you don't skip anything because in the past, I've tried it, just doing it in my mind. And as much as I love my mind and I think it works well, it doesn't always work well.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And then you'll learn if you missed an important point, right? If you read it back to them. Yeah.
Right, 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 right. Things that you also want to explore is the timing. What risk may be involved in this from their perspective, not your perspective, their perspective. And then
Right.
then what is the expected outcome?
Yep. And you're still not talking, you're still listening at this point.
You are. And so a good tip here is as you're listening, you can formulate in your mind some strategies like will you give them 10% off? You know,
Yeah.
will you take on that risk? Will you share that risk? Where's the cap in your mind of where it's too much or too little, should I say, on your side, probably going to be too little,
Right. Yeah,
right?
I'm always like when I'm listening, I'm actually thinking of a strategy to resolve that or to take care of that issue, right? Make
Right.
that part go away so you can get to the main goal, right?
Exactly. So step number four is then the purpose, right? Um, what is
Or propose. You're
yes,
proposing something at that point, at that
e-
juncture.
exactly. And
Hmm.
here's the deal, and this is what's worked really well for me. I typically give them two or three options.
We love options. Who doesn't love options?
Exactly. So
That really
when
gets their head spinning. They're like, wait, now
so
I have
so
options.
yeah, and I typically give them
Hmm.
a low, a medium, and a high, right? The high is the
Yeah.
total thing, in a nutshell. And most of the time, I know already starting out if I don't lead with well, actually, I do lead with the total and say, well, here's the total thing that we're talking about, but let's break that down, and then we can figure out what you really need in here and what you
Yeah.
don't need, and then we can adjust that. So, I'll give them some options, and maybe one option will be speed, and then we'll get it done fast. And the
Yeah.
next option will be um, a hodgepodge and multifaceted of some tasks, but not all of those tasks. So it has
Right.
some flexibility built into it. And then lastly, it's the whole kit and caboodle. Here it is.
Yeah, I just gave a counteroffer to another agent and I gave them two. I gave them two counteroffers. And then I called her and I explained the position of my seller and I said, this is why we're sending you two and ultimately we want you to figure out what route you want to take amongst you and your client. And they came back with a higher offer than both of those two.
Ha! Well,
So
all right. Well,
so it worked. I mean, the strategy
who
works.
whoever comes back with a higher offer than what you proposed to them.
Well, because they wanted an additional item. So they wanted something. So they did give
Oh,
for it. They
well,
did give.
there's
Yeah.
a negotiation. We're going to
It, wa-
negotiate, but we're going to
it was,
negotiate with money because we want
yeah,
item A.
exactly. So it worked.
Well, there you go. Well, congrats to
Options.
you.
Yeah.
So here's the tip, right? Be rational about this, right? Don't, if you're going to give up something, you want to get something back in return, right?
Yeah. Some people at this point will get very bully-ish. Like they'll bully and create all of the demand on their side, right? And they're not really showing the flexibility.
Right.
And they sometimes they win the negotiations based on this tactic, and sometimes they kill the deal. So be
I
very careful.
I've had this conversation before of a salesperson I had in the past that used to just yell and scream at the client, and she
Oh,
bullied them
wow.
basically. But yeah, she got. But I'm not advocating that. It worked well for her and her clients, but I can't say
Yeah,
it's going to work well for you.
right.
And I've witnessed it on the other side where the client is yelling and screaming and stuff like that,
Oh my gosh.
and they want me to do 25, 30, $50,000 worth of work for $5,000.
Oh my gosh. That's
And I'm like,
insane.
I understand, and I would love that deal too. However, you got to
Yeah,
understand this takes time, this takes resources, this takes a team of people to do it.
right.
There's
Which
no way
leads
to
in to the next point. Like, don't cave, right? Reiterate
exactly.
the time that it is invested and the people that you may need to acquire or hire for the job to get done. So definitely spell out all of the things and use that time to actually make them aware that this is not happening unless we do X, Y, Z, and you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's where the bargaining starts, right? That's where you start bargaining
Yeah. That's
on
reason
who's
that's
paying for
that
what.
exactly. This is number
Mm-hmm.
5, and that the title of this is bargaining. And the thing
Mm-hmm.
is this, as I said earlier, don't give anything up without getting something in back.
Right. You can always change around the terms or the variables of the negotiations of, and then you won't lose any money, perhaps. Maybe just change the terms.
Exactly. And one of the biggest terms that's always an issue is, well, two things: scope creep or the timeline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Scope creep is where you got a scope of work. These are the tasks you're doing. Then all of a
Yeah.
sudden the client throws in this and throws in this and throws in this and throws in this and throws in that.
Yeah.
And now your scope went from 5 to 10 items, but the timeline didn't. And
Because
and
they're,
most
yeah.
likely the budget probably didn't either, right?
And they're trying to get their money's worth or something, right? Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So, you can get that, you understand it, but you also have to understand pure perspective too. So, what I've always tried to do in the past is when something like that happens, is we do put a scope of work in place, and then if they want, great, we'll put in a change order,
Yeah,
and we'll add that to it and stuff like that, right?
exactly.
Um, so, anyways, yeah, uh, understand this, right? Here's the tip: when you're bargaining, you know, things change.
Yeah,
Not just the price. Typically, as things change, the price is going to change and be adjusted along with that, right?
that's right. So when
So,
you're closing the deal or you come up to a reasonable resolution or agreement, right? You always want to put it in writing, first of all. But recap it, closing the
I typically,
negotiation.
yeah, yeah, typically still at the negotiation table before I even get to the writing part of it. I've already got my
Yeah,
notes written down. I'll
right.
recap everything and say this, and this, and then
To
we
make
can,
sure.
and then we're
Yeah,
going to do it in this timeline and for this price. And
right.
so we get the verbal on that and everything. That's great. But now the next thing is to know this. Um, you got to go back and write it up.
Yeah.
Do it immediately.
Yes.
You should not, you should have that in front of them within 24 hours,
Yes.
right?
So
Not
that
next
everything's
week.
fresh in everybody's mind. Otherwise, people waver, right? They change their mind, they get cold feet, they start
Things
thinking
change
that,
too, right?
yeah,
All of a sudden the business is made a pivot and they're going a different
yeah.
direction, right? So,
Timing is everything. I mean, be very timely with your paperwork. Absolutely.
right. And so I typically always throw data in there is like, hey, okay, I'll get this to you. You'll have this in tomorrow. I'll put a close date in it by Wednesday or Monday or
Yeah.
whatever, right? So that we can get it done. And then typically after that, so now we're moving on to the follow-up, right? Number 7.
hmm Yeah.
Uh,
Always confirm the next steps. What does the next steps look like? Who's doing what? By what time? Kick off your agreement.
yeah, exactly.
hmm
Exactly. And
And don't rely on the other party to start it. Always take the initiative. I'm really big on that. Like, take the initiative. Don't be passive. Show them that you're in it to win it. And, maybe you're actually doing more responsibilities for them because you did feel that, it was a successful negotiation and you could lead with, a friendly, professional manner and, make the process fun and enjoyable. You
yeah,
got to that point, right? Now it's not over yet. You still have
right.
to perform.
You still have to perform. So
hmm
those are the 7 steps, right? Basically, the prep, the open, explore, purpose, bargain, close, and follow up. But there are a couple other things, and if you jump really back to the prep and the open
hmm
for a minute,
Yeah.
where you can really win at this
Yeah.
is if you are proposing something that they don't want to do or they don't like to do, right? Now you've really got their attention, because if they can offload this task onto you,
Yeah.
then so you always probably want to throw something extra in there of
So you're
that. But
being strategic, Barry, like
yeah,
you're pretending that you're asking them to do something that they're not going to want to do, and then they'll feel like you're taking it on, like being gracious and Generous? Are you saying like
Well,
a
well, that,
reverse psychology?
well, kind of, but
Well, because
more
there is a
so.
psychology to negotiations.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And we talked about that in a previous episode, but yeah, you're right on that. But I'm also thinking like back in the beginning when I asked them, what's going to make a win-win for
Oh,
us and stuff like
yeah.
that, right? Find out their pain points
Okay.
because that's going to get you closed on the negotiation
Yeah.
faster because if you got some of their pain points in
Take them away. Yeah.
you taking those
Eliminate them.
away, and then the other
Hmm.
things that you have in here, most of the time are going to go right along with it. So now your deal's closed,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
And you want them to feel good about it. Like you said in the beginning, make it a win-win. Show them that you're willing to make this a win-win. Then they won't feel like you're their enemy, but you're actually on their team.
Very, very true. And for Lisa, you and I, almost all of our clients have become friends in a sense, right? So
Hmm.
it might start out in a negotiation and it
Yes.
might start out in all this, but also you're building a relationship and you're building a bond.
Yes.
Nurture that, right?
Right.
I know that, and we have a few clients that, we cringe when the
Everyone does.
phone rings.
Well, not
We
all
all we all have that,
personalities.
right?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say at the end of the day.
Oh, you can. You haven't said it in a while.
I know I haven't. I've really tried to push it out. But honestly, if you can make a friend out of that person, or at least a very good
Then
friendly
what happens?
relationship,
You get referrals.
exactly.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want to go forward in life together as a team.
Yes,
It's not like one and done, right?
right. So here's a couple free tips for you guys, right? And some pitfalls to watch out for. The biggest number one issue I've seen in negotiations, and you've already lost it from the get-go, is if you
Yeah,
don't have a decision maker in the room.
yeah,
Why are you even having a negotiation with anybody if
right.
the decision maker who can say yes is not in the room?
Yeah. That's a
And
waste of time, really.
it
It's
is a
just a
waste
it's
of
just
time.
a stall tactic. People show up without the decision maker or the authority to make the decision and reschedule the appointment.
Right, right. Okay, I get it. Sometimes, like in some IT projects and stuff like that, our IT people and their IT people, and we're
Yeah.
working it out. But I always ask for the first meeting, have the
Yeah.
decision maker in the room
It's way more effective
so
to
that they can
present to them.
see what the
Hmm.
pain points are for you. They can see what we can do. Okay, so we negotiated. Now we can say, okay, let's continue. The decision maker can leave the room.
Oh
We
yeah.
negotiate all the details out, and then you can bring the decision maker back in the room. And that might be one meeting, that might be over 3 or 4 different meetings. It kind of
Right.
depends on the size of the project. But if the decision maker is not involved, it's not going to happen because these
At
people
least
talking to
even
you
by
don't
a
have the authority to do it.
at least even by a Zoom call, if they could be present, it
Yeah,
is so much more effective.
exactly.
Hmm.
Another pitfall, which we've already talked about, is jumping to the price before you've even talked about what you're going to
Break
do.
it down. Yeah, break down the nuts and bolts of it so that there's a clear way of looking at the job or the proposal. I mean, you definitely want to break it down in detail.
Right. I always try to break it down. You know me, I'm a detail oriented guy, right?
Hmm.
And this is one of the reasons why, because I want to show, okay, here's everything I'm doing. Here's the price for it, right?
This is
Instead
the
of,
value.
okay, here's the price. Because if you do it, then the value, or should I say the value, but the task and the work at hand is large. And then
Yeah.
the price is small compared to that. If you start out with the price, well, then the price is going to be large, and then everything you're doing is going to be small.
Yeah, as a consumer, I love seeing what I'm getting, what I'm paying for. I love seeing the details and things that maybe I didn't know that they were going to do. I'm like, oh, wow, I'm really happy I chose this person because I'm getting this and that I
Right.
wasn't aware of. So it's so cool to have that presentation in writing and show them your value and what they're getting.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. And here's something. So I was at Costco yesterday, right? And we're walking down an aisle, and here's a box with an item on it that is interesting. Now, granted, I see the price right up front, and there's no negotiation on the price, right? We're
Yeah.
at Costco. but I see that. But typically, what do? I pull the box out, I flip it on its side, and I start reading everything it does. What am I getting out of this product, right? How many of us don't do that?
Exactly. I mean, that made your decision whether to buy it or not. There's actually strategic patterns that consumers use to make decisions on purchases, and it's that's a whole nother podcast. But we can dive
Yeah,
into that another time. But yeah, that's what you did. You wanted to see the details.
I
Some
wanted
people
to
want to like
see what's this
try
going to
on,
do.
try it on. They want to feel it and experience it, and that's why there's a lot of demos that you
Right.
could partake in.
Now, I
But
didn't
yeah,
buy it. I didn't buy it. And I didn't
you
buy
didn't
it
buy it?
because my wallet didn't like the price. My wallet was the decision maker, and there wasn't enough in there. So
Your wallet said no.
my
You're not
wallet said
happy.
no. But what we did do is we compromised. I talked to my wallet and we said, maybe next month we can do this.
Oh, you just put it off. Okay, there you go. Can't wait to hear what it is.
No, it was
It's okay. You don't have to say.
an air fryer. It was an air fryer.
Oh, those are great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anthony uses it all the time. It's awesome.
I have one. We have one already, but it's kind of starting to
Oh, you
uh,
need a new one. Yeah.
yeah. And we got a really nice one. It's almost like a toaster oven, so you
Yeah.
don't have to flip anything. There's no trays and stuff.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
I love it to death. Um, but now
Cool. Yeah.
you used to be able to, okay, hey, it's done, so I can push the button and stop it. Well, that button doesn't work anymore. And
Yeah.
my wallet told me, so just unplug it. It'll stop working.
You're so funny. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. But yeah, how do you get out of Costco without spending a couple $100? That's a hard
Oh,
one.
yeah, that is hard. That is hard.
Oh my
So
gosh.
so another f- uh,
Pitfall.
pitfall is you're giving away the baby in the bathwater, right?
Don't give out too many free concessions. I
You
always tell my
shouldn't give
clients,
out any.
no.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't have
exactly.
to. You don't have to.
You don't. I mean, everybody knows that time is money, and everybody knows that if you're going to do a service for them, it costs a certain amount of money to do that.
Yeah.
Their job is to get it for as cheap as they possibly can. Your job is to get it for a reasonable, if not profitable, price, or
Yes.
perform it for that, right? And you know, it you should know your pricing already, right? If before you even go into the negotiation, as you said back in the prep, or as we said back in the prep, um, not only you're learning everything about them, but you also need to know on your side what you
Oh
can,
yeah. I
what you,
always walk into a meeting knowing where's my breaking point? Like,
yes, yes,
what
and
am I willing to do
what
and
you're
what am I not
capable,
willing to do? Yeah.
exactly, and
Mhm.
what you're
Yeah.
capable of doing, and what you need to bring somebody else in to do. And
Yeah.
if you bring in somebody else to do, what's the price of that?
If you guys haven't learned our motto, Barry says it repeatedly on our podcast. He always says, know your numbers, know your numbers.
Yes,
So this comes into play when you're negotiating as well.
it does. And then the other thing is a pitfall. The last thing that we'll discuss here is getting a verbal yes without written details.
You want to hear it, right? You
Well,
want to
you
hear
want to
it.
hear it, but you want a written details
Yeah.
of it, right? So just getting a verbal yes and a handshake, that's nothing,
Always, yeah. Close on a handshake, right?
right?
Look them in the
Right.
eyes and say, we got an agreement.
I have a checklist. I'll put this checklist up on
Perfect.
in
Facebook page.
our Facebook page, right? So,
You know
unfortunately,
what's so cool, Barry, about our Facebook page? Now I have people asking me, "Hey, you had that TikTok podcast. Can you send me the link?" And of course I'm like, it's right on the thing, but I'll send
right,
it to you.
right.
But yeah, so it's great. People are seeing our ads. We're marketing our podcast on our Facebook page. And we thank you all for listening. And we're hoping we're providing you value and you come back and listen next week. But don't forget to subscribe.
Yes, please subscribe. The reason we ask that, and you hear almost everybody ask this, is all of the platforms, they go off of subscriptions. And how they go off of that is the more subscribers that you have, then the more times they put you up in the search engine when people search a topic. For instance,
Yeah.
if they're going to go to Spotify or Apple and type in, business podcasts, who's going to be at the top is somebody who's got 20,000 subscribers versus somebody who's got 20 subscribers,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Because the more subscribers, then, oh, hey, more people like this is doing, and stuff like that. So it
Yes.
does help us. The more subscribers we have, the better.
So please subscribe, you guys. I mean, when you're opening up that link or getting us on YouTube or whatever your app is, definitely hit the subscribe button. It will help us out. We want to gain more traffic and more listeners, and then soon we'll go on video, hopefully.
Yeah, well, Lisa, you already put it out there, right? We got now 6 episodes before we will be on video.
I know. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. We're going to have to open that one with a bang. Maybe we'll dress up in some costumes or something.
Oh, God, help me now. All right, I'm going to come dressed up as a businessman.
Okay. It's so boring. It's so boring. No.
Oh, well. I don't know. I hear people like businessmen. I mean, it's hard to see it. I mean, you don't normally see businessmen in suits anymore, right?
We all like a sharp dressed man. Yes, that's women do for sure.
At least ZZ Top
Yeah.
did.
I love that song.
We
Yeah.
used to play it.
Let's open with that. We'll have to have that song.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, we can't. We can't because royalties.
Oh, I gotcha. Well, we
But
could do a very best pitch band version.
version. Yeah, I'll have to see if I have that out there with our band.
You could dress up as a band player.
I'll bring my guitar. How's that?
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
Well, guys, listen, thank you for tuning into the Biz Show. Lisa and I really appreciate
Yeah.
it. You can
Thank
get a
you,
hold of us
guys.
where, Lisa?
At the Biz Show on Facebook and also Instagram. And we also have our website, www.investquire.com.
All right, guys. Make it a good day. Go out there and win some deals now, okay?
Have a great week. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Biz Show podcast. Subscribe to stay updated and follow Barry and Lisa on Facebook at The Biz Show. Share your comments or suggest specific business topics you'd like to hear. Bye!